is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The Minister of Finance and Public Service, Audley Shaw, says the House of Representatives approved $89.9 billion, or a 12.6% increase in the 2017-2018 budget on Wednesday, will be used largely to pay the country's debt. Minister Shaw explained that the bulk of the increase, $68.5 billion or 76%, will go to public debt payments, while $12.6 billion or 14% represents a loan to the local oil refinery, Petrojam Limited, as working support capital. And the remaining $8.7 billion is for non-debt expenditure. The non-debt expenditure of $406 billion, including recurrent expenditure of $356 billion and a capital expenditure of $50 billion, ballooned to $426.5 billion. There were increases in recurrent programs, including the National Security Initiatives, payments for road works and rehabilitation, payments for salaries and compensation for various categories of public sector workers, and an increase in the marketing budget of the Jamaica Tourist Board. As was indicated in the previous story, the government has had to step in to lend Petrojam $12 billion to pay for petroleum products on the world market because of U.S. President Donald Trump's executive order banning transactions with Venezuela. The disclosure was made during Wednesday's sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. The committee is examining the first supplementary estimates for this financial year. In August, President Trump issued an executive order banning transactions by U.S. persons with Venezuela. Last month, Energy Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley revealed in Parliament that the order was affecting Jamaica's joint venture and other business arrangements with Venezuela. 74 young people who have made outstanding contribution in various areas were presented with the Prime Minister's Youth Awards for Excellence on Wednesday evening on the lawns of the Office of the Prime Minister in Kingston. Awards were presented in the categories of academics, agriculture, arts and culture, entrepreneurship, environmental protection, innovation in science and technology, international achievement, journalism, leadership, sports and youth development, and there was a special Jamaica 55 award. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in his address, congratulated the recipients and those shortlisted.
Every youth is a star. And when I look in the audience at the youth talent in Jamaica, it is clear that our future is very bright. Our progress, our prosperity, our destiny is unstoppable.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has called on the Parliament to extend the time period for the zones of special operations in both Mount Salem in St. James and Denham Town in West Kingston. While addressing the members of Parliament this week, the Prime Minister urged the period required to extend the zones would expire while Parliament is in recess on the 15th and 29th of December. He suggested that the law may need to be reviewed due to impracticalities.
The truth is, Mr. Speaker, as we have more and more zones being implemented, it is going to become almost impractical at each time to come back to Parliament, especially when the dates of expiration may coincide with periods when Parliament will not be in session, as it is the case now. The fact is, Mr. Speaker, that the Mount Salem zone will expire on the 30th, on the 29th of December, and the Denham Town zone will expire on the 15th of December. Both dates would be during the Christmas period when Parliament is on recess. So I have to now take the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to ask for the extension of both zones on the expiration, both on the 15th and on the 29th.
Former National Security Minister Peter Bunting has criticized the extension of the zone. Mr. Bunting said other communities are in desperate need of a similar anti-crime strategy. But Mr. Holness has insisted that the zones of special operation in Mount Salem has been successful. He urged persons criticizing the extension to be patient so they could see the results. The Prime Minister also gave an update on the activities of the zones, which he says have reaped success. He began with Mount Salem.
During the build phase, the joint forces will maintain its focus by providing internal security for the zone, and with the help of the community will prevent the return of criminals and their influence. Additional efforts will also focus on maintaining a secure environment in order to allow the Social Intervention Committee to carry out the various projects in keeping with the government's intent for the community. Work will commence to improve roadways, drainage infrastructure, and solid waste management. This will be spearheaded by the NWA and the NSWMA. The NWC and the JPS are also continuing their regularization drive in the community. With respect to Denham Town, on the 16th of December 2017, we are expecting that the Parliament will approve the resolution to have the zone extended, and that extension would begin on the 16th of December 2017. The zone is currently in the clear phase. That's the first phase of operations. And it is anticipated that the transition to the whole phase will soon follow. Like Mount Salem, there have been significant gains in the Denham Town zone, and the outlook is promising.
He says a challenge in the future will be scaling up the ZOZO program to impact more communities. The extension is still being deliberated in the House of Representatives. The government has launched a 10-year national strategic plan to eliminate gender-based violence. The plan focuses on 5 strategic priority areas: prevention, protection, intervention, legal procedures and protocols for data collection. And it is aligned with the 2030 Vision National Development Plan and the Policy for Gender-Based Equality and the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Speaking at the launch of the plan at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston this week, Minister of Culture, Gender Affairs, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, said the government continues to take a collaborative approach to tackling violence against women. She pointed out that earlier this year, the public was invited to make submissions to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament, adding that recommendations were made regarding proposed amendments to the Domestic Violence Act, the Sexual Offences Act, Offences Against the Person Act, and the Child Care and Protection Act. Representative of the United Nations Women Multi-Country Office Caribbean, Alison McLean, said Jamaica joins 5 other Caribbean countries and many countries across the globe that have taken this significant step to make public commitment towards addressing gender-based violence. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has hailed Jamaica's relationship with Japan and says the two countries' bilateral ties have strengthened in recent years. Minister Chuck conveyed greetings on behalf of the government and thanked the Japanese government for its continued support. He pointed to the country's policy to extend aid to small island developing states.
The past year has also been marked with exciting developments in the JJ partnership. These include the signing in April of a grant agreement for 1.6 billion Jamaican dollars from the government of Japan to bolster the island's emergency communication system, as well as the handover of state-of-the-art audiovisual equipment for the improvement of the exhibitions of the Institute of Jamaica.
The minister noted several partnerships between Jamaica and Japan, including the provision of $15 million in a concessionary loan from the Japan International Cooperation Agency for developments in energy and conservation. He also highlighted the continued partnership in education.
We proudly join JICA in celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Japan Overseas Cooperation Volunteer Program in Jamaica. This celebratory year gave us a welcome opportunity to recognize the contribution made by hundreds of volunteers to Jamaica's development over the past 3 decades, especially at the grassroots level.
The Child Care Protection and Family Services Agency, formerly the Child Development Agency, is again appealing to Jamaicans to participate in its annual Take a Child Home for Christmas program. The program, which started 10 years ago, allows individuals to open their hearts and homes to wards of the state during the festive season. Individuals who are interested in participating in the program are being asked to fill out an application form. They are also required to provide 2 references from a notary public, such as a public police officer, a justice of the peace, or a school principal. Provide 2 passport-sized photographs, a valid identification, and must be 25 years or older. Public Relations and Communications Manager at the CPFSA, Rochelle Dixon, says a background check is done on applicants as well as a home assessment to see the physical accommodation and amenities. If the requirements are met, the applicant is then paired with a child who they may host for a day or the entire holiday period. In regional news, we look to Trinidad and Tobago, where 7 people have been arrested following a $5 million TT dollar heist at the Piarco International Airport on Wednesday. PBCJ understands that it was the first Citizens Bank shipment of cash.
But as the amalgamated officers were about to secure the cargo trolley onto the tarmac, an airport security officer halted the team. Police say the airport security told the amalgamated officers that the tarmac is a restricted area for firearms. CNC3 understands that as the amalgamated officers and cargo court reversed, a Hilux vehicle with 4 heavily armed men dressed in camouflage resembling that of regiment officers pulled up. The men, who were also wearing masks, are said to have ordered everyone to lie on the ground, then proceeded to rob the cart containing the cash. The bandits escaped in a waiting black Hilux, which was later found abandoned in Orapun Gardens with false number plates. The airport's authority confirmed the robbery via media release just after 2 p.m., saying the organization was working with the police and an investigation was launched.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is insisting that his country being placed on the European Union's blacklist of tax havens is unfair, while blaming the previous Kamala Persesa-Basad administration for their current situation. He says his government has been working to clear the Trinidad Republic's banking reputation.
Trinidad and Tobago chose in 2011 to subject itself to Global Forum oversight, and in 2014 reinforced that position, but did nothing to put us in a position to execute that commitment. And therefore, now that we are being lumped with those who are in that basket, what is not being said is that in the last 24 months, this government has done yeoman service in trying to bring us to a position to avoid these kinds of labels.
In sports, West Indies head coach Stuart Law has urged his batsmen to convert their solid starts into major scores when they face New Zealand in the 2nd Test match at Seddon Park starting Saturday. The Australian also called on his bowlers to become more aggressive towards the Black Caps batsmen as the Windies look to bounce back from their innings defeat in the opening test at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. Meanwhile, the head coach said time has been and will have to be made for improvement.
Oh, mate, we're a developing team, that's for sure. In developmental teams, you're going to have some really good days, you're going to have some bad days. We put down day one of the last test to one of those days that didn't quite work out for us, but we got it right in the second innings. Had we done that on day one, it may have been a different story. But look, we're developing. We're making good strides forward. We've changed, our approach to training. We've worked out that we need to be a little fitter. So we're trying to work on that as well. Very tough to do that on the road. In amongst the series, you don't really want to be smashing them too much. into a game, but when you've got a bit of downtime, that's the time to do it. Very little downtime in this tour.
That's the news. Do stay with us. The weather forecast is next. That was the weather forecast. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.